is on the way. I see you eagle, I see you flying high. Ooh, you ain't seen nothing, you ain't seen nothing, you ain't seen nothing. I know you may think that you have, but God told me to tell you, you gotta keep on fighting, keep on fighting. You ain't seen nothing, yeah. No, 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 you ain't seen your best days yet. It's greater, it's stronger. It's gonna see your it's Good evening, everybody. It's always a pleasure to come before you each and every time because we have an opportunity to pretty much talk about some sports. My name is Dr. Lorenzo D. Smith, the host of Talking Sports Plus preview show, as well as the host of Talking Sports Plus. What we do each week, which is Hump Day, Wednesday, Wonderful Wednesday, however you want to call it. But we just like to come before you at the 7 o'clock hour, play some music for you, share some of the topics that we're going to be discussing tonight on the talk show, which is the Blog Talk Radio Show. Now, the purpose of this is to look at some of the hottest topics in sports, share some expertise, some analysis about what's going on in the world of sports. So we're really excited about having an opportunity to come before you. Now, for the 8 o'clock show, which is our Talking Sports Plus on Blog Talk Radio, our call-in number for that is 347-857-4192. Again, 347-857-4192. Or you can go to our web link if you just want to listen to the show, which is www.blogtalkradio.com/The Smith Wave Production. Now, also, if you want to pretty much email the show, you can go to talkingsportsplus@gmail.com. Also, tweet the show at Talking Sports Plus with the number 1, at Lorenzo D. Smith, at Elliot Darrell with the number 1, at Tremaine Edwards with the number 7, and at Coach_L_Smith. You can tweet the show that way. Now, let's kind of get started with what we're trying to do here, and then I'm going to go back and kind of talk a little bit about our show that's happening at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. What we do, we present a log of the hottest topic. We share our expertise on it, let you know what we're talking about and how we feel and what our thoughts are. We ask you to do the same thing by calling in through that call-in number 347-857-4192. It gives you an opportunity to share your thoughts, and we really want you to talk about the topics that we have on the agenda for tonight. Now, let me introduce my co-hosts. I just mentioned most of them handle, or in essence, most of them what we call a handle on Facebook, a handle on Twitter, a handle on whatever they consider to be Instagram, whatever, all those mechanisms right there. First of all, we have from North Alabama, He's known as the gentleman that has that saying that it ain't no fun when the rabbit habit is gone. We have Coach Tremaine Edwards out of North Alabama. Then out South Alabama, as far as you can get down, close as you can to the Florida line from up over to Dothan up to Montgomery, down to Troy. We have our radio personality, better known to everybody as the Don King of Entertainment. That's Daryl E. Train Elliott. And also in South Alabama, we have a recent retiree that going into that 6 month period. He retired in July, so we'll celebrate at about 7 months. He's with the Alabama High School Athletic Association for many years, and he is retired now. He's another one of our co-hosts, and that's Touchdown Tony, and that's Touchdown Tony Stalwart. And last but not least, the lady of the hour, the millennium. I'm so proud of her because she's my daughter, and I'm so happy to have her as part of our show as a co-host, none other than Coach Lauren D. Smith. Those are the individuals who will be joining me at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, what we really want to try to talk about, and we have several ways that we're broadcasting to you. I'm speaking directly at each one of these points, and it's directly to you. We're broadcasting on Facebook, and that's DRL Dialberto Smith at facebook.com. You can join us. Have several people joining me at this time, and we're going to call out and give you a shout out throughout the show. So everybody, and if not throughout the show, definitely at the end of the show. Then we also broadcasting Instagram, and you can make sure you can join us on Lorenz Coach Lorenza D. Smith 15. We have several other handles, and we have one that we're broadcasting from tonight, and that's Coach Dr. Lorenza D. Smith 15. And also we have our own YouTube channel, the Smith Way Production, and you can join us go to the Smith Way Production, and you can get this broadcast as well. And last but not least, we have it on Periscope. Twitter, as you may call. You can go to Lorenza D. Smith or either Talking Sports Plus, and you can get us broadcasting live in those ways. So those are the vehicles how we bring this to you. Now, when we finish with the show, we'll go and put it on our own demand episode as an episode that you can go back and check. You can watch and you can share your thoughts. You can watch our expertise basically as I shared this during the previous show, because our regular show just be on Blog Talk Radio, but I'll take it and I will put the show on all of those same avenues. For example, we'll put it on Facebook, we'll put it on Twitter, we'll put it on Instagram, we'll put it on Google Plus, Tumblr, we'll put it on LinkedIn, we'll put it also on Anchor's podcast. There's so many ways we bring this show to you. So we're very excited about having an opportunity to come to you every Wednesday. We're going to talk about those topics, but let me kind of share some things that we're going to try to do today, because I want to give you the things that's on the log. Now, we're going to always make sure we talk about historical black colleges and universities. We look at the storylines dealing with those historical black colleges and universities. Now, one of the most important things about Talking Plus it is the voice of the historical black colleges, universities, high school and middle school athletics in the southeastern part of the United States. So we make a point to talk about historical black colleges and universities. What we're going to share with you tonight is a recap of week 3, some of the results. And we're also going to look at discussing that Magic City Clash on the hardwood that occurred in Birmingham last Saturday night between Alabama State University and Alabama A&M University men and women basketball team. We're going to talk about the results. We're going to talk about some things we saw. We'll talk about how we see the season projecting and growing for each of those teams. We're also going to look at each one of those teams and the SWAC. We're going to give you some results and some standings in regards to that. SWAC is the Southwest Athletic Conference. We'll also give you results from the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. You have heard MEAC. And some of the teams that are part of that is Howard, Hampton, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Central. Those are Savannah State. Some of those teams that make up that MEAC. Then we look at the Division II conferences which make up the historical black colleges and universities. We have the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, which is called the SEAC, and it's more or less related to Tuskegee University, Miles, Central State, Kentucky State, Clark of Atlanta, Morehouse. You have Fort Valley, Albany State, and you have those teams that make up that conference right there. And last but not least, we have the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, known as the SEAC, and it carries on up that Atlantic coast, and you have those teams at Virginia State, the Virginia Unions, you have the Fayetteville State, and you have Claflin, I'm sorry. Some people try to take the L as Claflin, and you have that team up in there. You have Chowan, you have Maryland Eastern Shore. You have all those teams that make up that division of it. And we talk about the results from each and every one of those teams, and we're going to share some thoughts about it as well as in this 30-minute hour. We also want to look at the Coach's Corner. We have a segment called Coaching Corner. And in the Coaching Corner, we pretty much talk about one particular, we have several topics we're going to have in it, but we're going to discuss one topic in regards to the latest changes in coaching staff at the University of Alabama. As you know, whether we like it or not, whether I'm in Alabama, wherever I am, Alabama is considered to be the blue blood program of football. And everybody, I know Clemson is there and graduated the game. They won the national championship, but they are considered to be the blue blood. It's now Clemson and Alabama and everybody else trying to catch up. Whenever they have a coaching change, it's enough to be worthy to talk about. You can talk about that constantly, trying to see if this has something to do with their failure and their success. Pretty much all your pundits and your talking heads have been talking about it all week and even last week after that championship game. So you kind of see what's going on. We want to make sure that we share those thoughts in regards to that. We also want to look at, is Clemson favored to repeat as national champion next year? You know, there's a lot of talk about the two quarterbacks of those two teams that played in the championship game. You have Tua Tagovailoa, and you also have Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. So Tua is Alabama. So you have them running neck and neck, and it's a possibility they're going to have someone that kind of serves yourself as a quarterback, and that's a transfer quarterback from the University of Alabama to Oklahoma. Jalen Hurts. Some people think he will be considered, if he played as well as the previous quarterbacks that they had at Oklahoma, be considered as a Heisman candidate. But those are three individuals. We're going to look at exactly whether or not Clemson, with their returning quarterback, which will only be a true sophomore, as well as Alabama returning quarterback who's a true junior. We're going to see how they're going to turn up. Sometimes it's a centerpiece, and sometimes it's a coaching staff. There's a lot of things we can look at, and we're going to talk about that a lot tonight. So join us at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and our call-in number is 347-857-4192. If you want to go to, now, let me say this. When you call in, if you want to share your thoughts, I will ask you the person one, and I will identify you with the last four digits of your cell or telephone number, then ask you to give us your name and location, and also to mute your phone so you won't have all that information, all that in the background, that background noise. You'll be able to talk with us, and we'll hear you clearly. And this live broadcast is all over the world. We just not only touch right here in the southeastern part of the United States. We from coast to coast, from the Pacific to the Atlantic to the Gulf Coast. Also, we're in Norway. So we say it's world as well as Dubai. And just have to keep in mind, we're in many places, and some people just really want to hear what you have to say. So mute your phone so we can make sure we'll be able to hear what you have to say, and then we have a real good discussion about that topic we'll be talking about. We also will look at whether or not the adjustment in Alabama football program are more or less dealing with that last defeat. Was that the worst defeat that Nick Saban, within his tenure, having Curse. Some people say yes, and we're going to talk about it. We want you to talk about it as well. So share your thought. Also, you can go to the web link, and if you just want to listen to the show, and I'm just these individuals that's with me, that's on the 4 vehicles, you can go to www.blogtalkradio.com/the Smith Way Production, and you can just listen to the show. Now, you just want to email your question, email your thought. You can talking sportsplus@gmail.com. That's at our 8 o'clock hour. We also want to look at who's the GOAT. We're going to look at a little professional comparison. Who's the GOAT between LeBron James and Tom Brady? Both had been to 8 championship games. LeBron had 3 championships out of the 8 times he had an opportunity to go to the championship. Tom Brady had 8, but he has 5 championships. Now he has number 9, and to be 41 years old and playing at that level to make sure his team get to that championship game, we have to kind of give him an edge at that point. We're going to talk about it. We want you to be a part. Share your thoughts on it. You have that opportunity at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We also want to look at some high school basketball. We're going to go back and we're going to look at the Georgia high school basketball rankings. We're going to go back and have our report from our resident high school expert, which is Textile Tony Stallworth. And matter of fact, he's over at a game, which is a sort of West Side Classic on the Heartwood in Montgomery, Alabama, between the number 4 ranked 618 and the number 8 ranked 618. That's Sidney Lanier High School, 4 ranked 618. And George Washington Carver High School, the 8th ranked. And they're competing tonight. So he's going to be at the game. He's going to share some live broadcasts in regards to that. So make sure you join us. We'll get that. We'll also look at, again, Alabama high school ranking as well. So last week we had Florida and a little bit of Alabama. Then now we still got some rankings there with Alabama and some games that related. And we're having the Georgia high school ranking. Just last night there was a nationally broadcast game, and that was dealing with Meacham out of Georgia playing and have some outstanding players. So there's some outstanding basketball going in all the southeastern part of the United States as well as in the country, and we're going to continue to talk about it. Next week we will talk a little bit about the Power 5 teams that participated in that, as well as looking at some Division 2 and Division 3. Let me kind of share some thoughts before we get off this air tonight. It's 7:29. We're going to talk about the SWAC standing, and the SWAC standing looks like this. You have Prairie View. This is men's. We're going to do the men's side first, then we're going to go to the women's side. Prairie View is 5-0. They lead the conference with 5 wins and no losses in the conference. You have Alabama State University, who's 4-1, and I saw outstanding game for Alabama State on Saturday night up in Birmingham. It was outstanding. So their record is really an indication of what level play they play pretty high level. They play outstanding at times, but they play a level that's above the rest of the competition. We also will talk about Texas Southern, who's in 3-1 in the conference. You also have University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. They are 3-2. Grambling, which is 3-3. You have Jackson State University 3-3. Alcorn 2-4. Mississippi Valley, they are 1-4. And then last but not least, you have Alabama A&M, who's 1-4. On the women's side, you have Southern 5-1. Grambling 5-1. Prairie View 3-1. Alabama A&M 3-2. Alabama State 3-2, so that should be swapped because Alabama State did beat A&M, so they would swap that where A&M would go into that 4th slot. Alabama State would go into the 4th slot. A&M will go into the 5th slot. Texas Southern 2-3. You have Mississippi Valley 2-3, as well as Alcorn 2-4, and last but not least, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff at 2-4. In the MEAC, which is the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, they're standing. You have Norfolk State on the men's side is 6-0, North Carolina A&T 5-0, North Carolina Central 4-1, Bethune-Cookman 3-2, Florida A&M 2-3, I'm sorry, 3-2. Coffin State, 3-3. Howard, 2-3. South Carolina State, 2-3. Savannah State, 1-3. Maryland Eastern Shore, 1-5, and Delaware State, 0-6. On the women's side, you have Norfolk State, 6-0. North Carolina A&T, 5-0. Maryland Eastern Shores, 5-1. Howard, 3-2. Morgan State, you have them at 3-3. Howard, I'm sorry, 3-2. Morgan State is 3-3. You have Savannah State at 2-2. Bethune-Cookman at 2-3. South Carolina State 2-3. North Carolina Central 1-4. FAMU 1-4. Delaware 1-5, and Coffin State 1-5. And on the SIAC, on the Eastern Division part of that, you have Morehouse 9-2, Albany State 6-4, Clark 6-5, Payne 4-6, Fort Valley State University 3-7, and this is men. On the west side, you have Miles 8-2, Tuskegee 7-3, Lemoyne Owen 8-4, Lang 7-4, Kentucky State 5-6, Central State 2-9, and Spring Hill is 1-8. On the women's side, you have the East, you have Benedict is 9-0, Albany 4-1, Clark 4-7, Fort Valley 3-6, Payne 1-9. Then on the west side for the women, you have Tuskegee 8-2, Lemoyne Owen 7-4, Miles 5-4, Lane 5-5, Spring Hill 4-4, Kentucky State 4-6, and Central State 4-6. That's the standing so far in each of those conferences of the historical black colleges and university. We wanted to share. We're going to talk about that later on at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Talk about some things we've seen and some news we have about each one of those teams that are excelling at the higher level. Now, we want to kind of share the CIAA in regards to, I mentioned the SIAC, so we have the CIAA in Northern Division on the men's side, Virginia State, Bowie State. You have Chowan, which is 4-3, Elizabeth City State 6-2, Virginia Union 5-2, Lincoln out of Pennsylvania 4-4. On the southern side of the men, you have Livingston 3-4, Winston-Salem 3-4, Claflin is 5-7, Shore is 2-3, Fayetteville State 2-5, Johnson C. Smith 1-5, and St. Augustine 1-7. On the women's side, Virginia Union 6-1, Elizabeth City State is 4-4, Lincoln 4-4, Bowie 7-1, Charwan 6-2, Virginia State 2-5. Then on the southern part of that women, you have Winston-Salem State 5-2, Johnson C. Smith 5-2, Claflin 8-5, St. Augustine 1-8, Fayetteville State 4-8, Shaw 0-7, and last but not least, Livingstone. Georgia High School basketball ranking from Class 5A down to 1A in both boys and girls. I'll give you the top teams in each of the class. Number one, we have Milton in the 5A. In the 4A, we have Miller Grove. In the 3A, we have Columbia. In the 2A, Greater Atlanta Christian. And in the 1A, we have Whitefield Academy. These are boys. In the girls' ranking, you have North Cross 5A, Madison County 4A, Washington County 3A, Beaufort 2A, and Westland 1A. Those are the rankings we're going to talk about tonight. We want to make sure you join us. That's our log, and I want to give you a preview of it. I want to make sure you take time to join us at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. The call-in number, we want you to call in 347-857-4192. We want the board to be lit up tonight because we want you to talk some basketball with us. And again, the call-in number is 347-857-4192. The web link to hear the show is www.blogtalkradio.com/The Smith Way Production. So we, like I said, we're looking forward to having you as a part of our show tonight. My co-host and I, we're always excited to have you. So we're at the end of our show, our previous show. We're going to get ready for our show in 30 minutes. But I want to make sure I call out those individuals that are joining us in regards to Facebook and the individuals that are joining us. I'm getting a reconnection on my Instagram, so I'll make sure I call out those individuals. But right now, I'm gonna run down the list of those individuals. You have Mira, and I can't see Kervin, Washawn Oliver. Hi there. Hey, Washawn. Hello, Washawn. Carolyn Goldsmith Henry. Thank you, Carolyn. Carla Nicole. Deacon Reggie Ruth, my nephew. Thank you, Deacon. Thanks, family. Always good to have the family support you. Have Rachel Key and Ebony Smith. Thank you, Rachel and Ebony. Dora Carroll. Thank you. Karen Lewis. Thank you, Karen. Jay Gold. Sydney R. Jones. This is Ava Rose Evans. Is this Ella St. James, Kenya L. Taylor, Katrina Garland Stevenson, Laura Ann Person down there from Luverne. Thank you, Laura. Mercedes Felicia Filser, Sherry Mars, Maria Ann Camacho, Yolanda Green, Tasha Wood. Thank you, Tasha. Communicating with me, Tasha. I really enjoy communicating with you. Thank you. Jamie Dion Haley, my fraternity brother, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. Thank you, Jamie. Marilyn Carrier. Thank you, Marilyn. Kristen Barrow. Artavius Williams, one of my ball players and my fraternity brother. I taught him and coached him in middle school. Artavia, appreciate you joining, one of my fraternity brother again. Tassima Jackson, Tassima, good friend of mine. Thank you, Tassima, for joining us. Thank you for the support. Sierra Washington, thank you, Sierra. And last but not least, my Sarah of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Kim Ramsey and her son, Karan Ramsey, who's recently signed with an agent to get ready for the NFL draft. He's in training now in Florida, and we are here supporting him on Talking Sports Plus. We try to give him the right shout out. We give him mom as well as dad, EJ. Both of y'all are proud parents. I know you are. And we'll tell Karan, good luck, keep grinding, because good things are coming to those individuals that God have set aside for it. So it's been an awesome night. Let me tell you now, don't get crazy on me when I click on this. I might have you blocked out for a second, but I'm trying to make sure I get my music up and get it to be playing. Again, as I always say, hashtag keep on grinding. And then last but not least, communicate for understanding. And I always tell everybody as I leave the show, I love you, and ain't a thing you can do about it. Join us at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to have a ball because we're going to make it do what it do. Have an awesome night. So many hours trying to make it right, just didn't have anointing in the hopes they disappear. I'm trying to let it go. You just don't want to know. And if I had a dime for every time I tried to call your name, tell me I will learn that I could cope. Well. I discovered I could make it. Oh, nights so long and cold, so cold, you don't know how cold. I discovered I could take it. Oh, now I wouldn't trade a thing. No. Not for the knowledge that I've gained. Let me see it like this. I learned that I could grow. I really did. I tried to let it show. I did. I tried to let it show. I tried to tell you, but you just walked away from me. Act like you didn't know me. But let me say it like this, that I'm worried now. I can't say how, but I'm over it now. One morning I just broke free. All the chains just dropped off of me. But you just, I tried to tell you, I tried to show you. But let me tell you how I feel right now. I want you to know that I'm you can't hurt me no more. Cause I'm over it now. Anybody feel like I feel? Say with me that I'm over it now. Yes, I am. Say it again. But I'm over. Till I'm over. Right now. Hey, I want you to know how I feel. That I'm a long way from where I used to be. I'm not what I'm gonna be. But I feel you just don't. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Hey, I tried to let it show. I really did. I tried to let it go. I really did. But I learned that I could grow. You just don't know.
Death and life are in the power of the tongue.